And in those 2.5 years, not one scratch on any of our computers, not even on the tables and chairs. P&M had donated everything. So I'm like, this is for you guys. You break it, we're going to lose use of it. I used to take my daughter, if Shivani were cranky or getting fussy, they would come pick her up, walk around with her, and it was beautiful to watch. And it was lovely. It was a lovely period of my career.
What I'm taking also away is that you believed in them and you had faith that they will do well. And when you spoke about the keys, you gave this Jose gentleman, here's the key. I trust you.
Yes.
And
I gave him a responsibility that why would you not? And in those 2.5 years, not one scratch on any of our computers, not even on the tables and chairs. P&M had donated everything. So I'm like, this is for you guys. You break it, we're going to lose use of it. I used to take my daughter when she was younger there because, startup mom, not having enough childcare or where I felt good enough to leave Shivani. And they would watch their language. And then if Shivani were cranky or getting fussy, they would come pick her up, walk around with her. And it was beautiful to watch. And it was lovely. It was a lovely, lovely period of my career. If I had to ever go back, that's where I would go back to.
Yes, that's my sweet spot. I love working in communities where we can just let go of all of the extra fluff and pre-notion of what things should be, just allowing that natural growth process to happen.
Absolutely. And they deserve the best. They deserve our respect. And I don't know why we don't give that to them.
Any human.
Well, they're human. My biggest peeve is people calling them kids. They're children. Or they have a name. Hey, kiddo, that's not his name. It's a uphill battle with community, but I think if we do it right, it's possible.
Thanks you for that inspiration. So anyone who's listening, if you really want to get involved, there are ways. There are a lot of corporations out there. They have sometimes the funding. Just approaching them, maybe the visions will meet and you too can make a difference in the community, in your local community. So Tina, now you are in this environment for a little while. Now you're inspired by Shivani's education. So what were some of the biggest challenges you faced as a school leader? Because you were the leader of this school. And how did these experiences then again shape your approach to leadership?
I think the end story of the Rio Grande Educational Collaborative, I see that as my biggest success as well as my biggest failure. Here's why. So at the end of 2.5 years, my funding was running out. The CEO was retiring. I went to the public school superintendent, our district superintendent, and said, I need money, Joey. I saved you almost $3 million because you kept 450 students on your attendance. You got paid for that. I just want a portion of it because I'm really helping the children. You know what he tells me? He says, I'm sorry, Tina, that money's already allocated for next year. I have nothing for you. Hence my dislike for bureaucracy. They did not see the benefit of what we were doing with the children. He's like, we can do what you're doing, but on our campus. And I walked out completely. Can I use bad words? I can't. I was very angry, and I walked out. And my colleague said, when you're done being angry, I have an idea. I'm like, I'm done being angry. Let's go. He's like, how would you like to keep these children? We'll serve the same children. We know it's working. Instead of 14 weeks, why don't we keep them for 4 years? I'm like, what are you talking about, Gil? And he said, well, let's start a charter school. We'll write a charter. We'll get it approved. We do it the same way, morning session, afternoon session, counseling, therapy. But you have them for 4 years, and then you can make sure that they truly get into post-secondary. So I took 9 months without pay, And I wrote 2 charters, and we started 2 charter high schools, served immediately, filled up with 170 students at each location. And we started working with children. At first, they were the at-risk children, but then eventually we started getting the gifted and the learning differences and all kinds of students because they just weren't getting served at where they were. We had a very robust, inclusive environment in that sense where at-risk were working with the gifted, with learning differences or physical abilities side by side. And it was nice to see.
So what strategies did you have to use? You have 2 high schools and now you have children with a variety of needs. So how did you create positive and inclusive environments for both students, staffs, and maybe the parents as well?
I think it's managing their expectations and staying true to the vision is we're committing to you, but in turn, you do also have to commit to us. Parents were just on board. They were, you call me anytime you have a concern or issue and we'll be there. We can meet. So setting the expectations, staying true to the vision, I think, but just focusing on the children and hiring staff that truly wanted to make a difference with these children. That's, I was still in the nonprofit arena. There were longer hours. They were, board meetings and this and that. And then the board issue is a whole different issue by itself. They don't understand our vision and mission. So when you have to ask permission to do something or buy something, you don't get the answer until 4 months into it. And then you're like, well, I needed it back then. I don't need it now. And so all of those things, I tried to change that with Montessori One, and which is why it's a for-profit, no board. And I'm starting young because I did realize that those children, even if we were spending millions on them, it was still a struggle. They just missed the opportunity of that foundation, and so I decided I'll start younger, make sure, and we give out scholarships and reduce tuitions every year. We have this variety of children just working. And I think your question about how did I get students to work together that were diverse is just respecting them, and they started respecting others, and zero tolerance for fighting or nonsense. In the RGC, I did have 3 gang members in one of my cohorts. And one day they're fighting over a girl. I gave them a couple of chances to, come together, get back to work. It kept happening. So finally, it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. I said, shut down your computers and get out. And they're all looking at me. I said, you heard me, shut down your computers and get out. So they're all shuffling out. And then I locked the door. And I was sitting there and watching them. They're all just waiting. Like, what is she going to do? So I go back out and I said, I'm dismissing you for the day. I have to say I'm very disappointed. I am here to help you. You don't seem to want my help. So I want you to leave right now. Tomorrow morning, I'll be here by 8. If you show up, great. Then you have to follow the rules that I set. And if you don't show up, I am really, really sorry that I couldn't help you, and I wish you all the best. I'm drive up 7:45 in the morning. Yeah, all there. All of them. One by one, they're like, I'm sorry, miss. I'm sorry, miss. Go in, go to work. And then these 3 gang leaders, I was like, I want to talk to 3 of you. So here I am, and here are the gang members. And I was like, you guys just stop. You're the leaders. Can you show me some leadership in a positive way? Fighting over a girl is not going to get you anything. They were model students for the rest of the session. So, like I said, it's respect. It's challenging them. You're here. I want to take you to here. I'll be here helping you and giving you everything you need to get there. But you have to want to get there. I can't make that for you. And they all want it. And so they've all shown up. My vision for Montessori One is if we start early, can we keep them from going onto that path that is hard to come back from? So
with Montessori One, are you looking to continue to increase the grade levels as you continue the program?
No, I think I'm finished with elementary just simply because the 3 feeder schools that we have, they have 50 years experience on me. They're solid. They get children on the college path and prepare them for at least second year of college education. Why would I want to compete with that? But we work in collaboration with those schools, and they know what we have to offer and what children come out with, what skills, and we know what their expectations are. So we don't teach them to get into the school, but inherently, our soft skill focus and our executive functioning focus, they're just ready for whatever challenge. So after the second plane of development, we let them go into the world, and they're all succeeding. So
a leader who knows what the limits are and where, your program is going to be beneficial and not, and creating those boundaries.
absolutely. And I think if I try to do everything, then something will suffer. And it's quality over quantity. I think if I do anything, it'd be to open up another location where we can serve a different community and do the same model, which is one of the reasons why I started Nido. Well, elementary started because of parents' requests, as did Nido. I saw the need just within my staff. They were struggling for childcare. They're pregnant. What do? Not everyone has a mother-in-law or mom at home who can help take care of them. And so it was one of my toddler guide, who actually convinced me to do this, hence the Nido. So it has to have a purpose and meet the need of people that we're serving.